Rima Up with Gideon.
Science cannot explain it. So I did a test. I decided to find out if really science can't explain this love. You know, it's telling you that when it comes to God's love, there are 4 coordinates. There's length, there's breadth, there's height, there's depth. That you may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height. And to know the love of Christ which passeth knowledge. The word knowledge there is Gnosis. Gnosis is scientific knowledge. And he says that the love of Christ surpasses scientific knowledge. Science cannot explain it. So I did a test. I decided to find out if really science can't explain this love. So I went to AI, I say AI. And I asked AI a question. So I asked AI, what parameter is measured in the equation length, breadth, height, and depth? Because he says that this love of God, it surpasses Gnosis. It surpasses scientific knowledge. So now I've done a little science, small science. If we say length and breadth, what are we measuring? Length and breadth is for 2D dimensional things. So you can't interact with it. So length and breadth usually is for 2D stuff. Then when I say length and breadth and height, volume or something that is 3D, something that you can, so this thing you can measure length, breadth, and height. 3D things are relatable by length, breadth, and height. But God says that my love, no, if you want to measure it, is length, breadth, height, depth. What are we measuring? It means that God's love enters a realm beyond 3D. It enters a realm beyond 3D is the realm we are in where we can interact and touch. So I asked AI, what parameter is measured in the equation length, breadth, height, and depth? Because I wanted to test the equation. Then AI responded, in standard geometry and physics, multiplying 4 spatial dimensions together, length, breadth, height, depth, does not measure a common physical parameter in our everyday 3D world. Then he says, here is a breakdown of how this equation interpreted depending on the context. Most likely this equation is a slight mix-up of terminology, or it's a mix-up of terminology. Thank God Bible has told us already that this one is beyond Gnosis. What they know is length, breadth, and height. Now God is adding depth. And he said, oh, I think it's a mix-up of terminology in 3-dimensional space. You only need 3 measurements to calculate volume. But God is saying, I have a 4th one. Answer me about that. You would only multiply 3 of these terms together, not 4. But God said, when it comes to my love, it is 4 dimensions. So no wonder the Bible says that what manner of love is this? That the Father has lavished unto us, that we should be called sons of God. When you check the Greek word for the word manner, the manner is from which country, from which origin. So the writer said, which country is this love coming from? That upon all that I did, God is still keeping me in his book of life. Which country is this love coming from? That a Nima ghetto boy like me, of all the people, God will single me out and bring me this far. Which origin? Where is that love coming from? But despite all of what we've done, God seemed to never get tired of loving us. That is because his love is coming from a certain origin. Then he says 4D mathematical interpretation. So they try to create like what they think a 4D, they say hypervolume. If you mathematically multiply 4 distinct spatial dimensions together, you are calculating a 4-dimensional hypervolume. So I say that this concept exists in theoretical physics. It means that we can only, in theory, we can try and extrapolate. But practically, in advanced mathematics, such as calculating the hypervolume of a tesseract, but it does not represent a tangible object you can measure in everyday reality. Why is this so? Because the Bible said that God is love. God is love. It means that the love you're talking about is eternal. It transcends time. So you can't find it within, you can't do it by your human calculations. Within the boundaries of earth, that love is not possible. That's why I said that it is the love of God that has been shed abroad in our heart. That's how come you can also give that same love out. So until God helps you to love, you can't. Oh, you say, now I'll behave myself in traffic. You tried, you tried. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somebody cross you, then you control yourself. By the 5th week, wait till free. It's because if you don't rely on the Holy Ghost and you want to use 3D, the earthly realm, you cannot express agape. So I asked AI again, what is the tesseract? What you are trying to extrapolate, what is it? Then he says that he used the analogy of a shadow to explain what they think a tesseract is, that 4 dimensions. Then he says that just as a 3D object casts a flat 2D object. So if I stand there, my body will cast a shadow. That shadow is 2D. I can't catch. Have you tried catching your shadow before? You can't catch the shadow. It's 2D. So a 3D object will cast a 2D shadow. And he says that in their estimation, a 4D object will cast a 3D shadow. I'm worrying your brain this morning. So it means that what we are seeing as tangible, what I can touch, the physical realm, is the shadow of what God has. It's a shadow. That is why it is sad if you want to measure God's capacity, God's power, God's potency by a car, by a house, by a phone. It's even annoying. You are measuring God's capacity by a phone. That God, I asked you for a phone. What you as only it is the shadow. It's a shadow. People of God, when we get to heaven, we'll be shocked though. Some of you think that, oh, I have questions for God. When you get to heaven and you see God is love in 4D, you be God is big, and that's how big his love is for you. You can't finish the love. You can't exhaust the love.